In my last video comparing the new DJI Osmo 360 to the Insta360 X5, one thing really stood out. At wider FOVs, the Osmo's fisheye effect was far more pronounced. The edges of the frame clearly warped, and once you notice it, it's hard to unsee. Now, heavy lens distortion like this can be a dead giveaway that you're looking at 360 camera footage. And while that's completely fine if you're going for a shot that only a 360 cam can pull off, it becomes a problem when you're reframing and cropping into more conventional angles. To compare these cameras more accurately, I set them up in the exact same spot in my room, under controlled conditions. Without any additional tweaking, here's the X5's footage imported into the Insta360 Studio, and here's the Osmo 360's footage in DJI Studio. As you can see, the Insta360's result looks a lot better. Now, DJI Studio does have a correction angle setting that lets you straighten lines and dewarp the image. But no matter how much I simultaneously tinkered that and the FOV setting, I could never get it looking anywhere near as good as the Insta360's output. Even though it's possible to straighten out the edges, the whole image ends up looking excessively stretched and unnatural. So it seems like either DJI Studio's dewarping tools just aren't as good as Insta360's, or the Osmo 360's original footage is simply more prone to edge warping, perhaps due to differences in lens design. But then, a brilliant find from one of you, in the comments of my last video, Hank Walks shared something interesting. They had taken an Osmo 360 file, exported it from DJI Studio as a panoramic MP4 video, then opened it in Insta360 Studio and noticed it seemed to use Insta360's own dewarping technique. I had to try this for myself, so I went back to the Osmo 360 clip and decided to run the same test. First, I exported the file as a panoramic video from DJI Studio. This creates a standard MP4 that Insta360 Studio can actually process. And voila, just like that, the scene instantly looks way better than the heavily warped version from DJI software. After some additional tweaking, I managed to nearly perfectly match the X5's framing. This pretty much confirms it, the Osmo 360's distortion issues are entirely a software limitation. So huge props to the commenter who ran this test. Now, while exporting to Insta360 Studio works, this obviously isn't a practical long-term solution. What we really need is for DJI to get their dewarping on par with Insta360's, and the good news is, if they do, it'll retroactively work on all of your existing Osmo 360 footage. So for now, I can relax knowing the Osmo 360's warping issue is something that can be fixed with a software update. The Osmo 360 clearly has solid potential, but the real question is, how long will it take for DJI to roll out these updates? Because right now, DJI Studio is pretty disappointing, and I'm not just talking about the dewarping.